some of us are too selfish for relationships. And I'm specifically talking about romantic relationships. So I was thinking about in middle school, watching TV, watching That's So Raven, Drake and Josh, Even Stevens, Lizzie McGuire, depictions of high school life. And those depictions often included people's first kiss, people getting in relationships, having boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. And it was like, oh man, I can't wait to do that. And I'm learning how to kiss through That's So Raven, right? At that point in life, 11, 12, 13, 14, at middle school age, when I think about what it means to be in a relationship, I'm basing it all off of movies and TV. Let's be very honest. And specifically movies and TV where it was like preteen and teenage characters with whom I can relate. I can't really relate to my aunts, uncles, and my parents who are married and just, even if they aren't married, they're adults. I can't really relate to what they got going on. But what I can relate to is watching kids kiss for the first time by the lockers and in school. So I'm thinking, I can't wait till I get into high school, right? And then at that point in time, I'll be able to date, get to 16, 17, 18. In that age range, I'm thinking about, okay, when I get a girlfriend, I'll be able to kiss. I'll be able to go on dates. I'll be able to take somebody, go to the movies, and then go to dinner afterwards. Because that's just what plays through my mind. That's a stereotypical date that you see, or that I would see in even like cartoons like The Proud Family. Like all of these depictions of what it means to be in a relationship, it was all based on selfish gain. What do I gain from being in a relationship? So a couple things that I would gain was notoriety / a little bit of popularity depending on who I was dating. There was like that sense of, oh wow, now that I'm in a relationship, there's like an air of maturity that goes along with it. And when you're 16, or when I was 16, I guess it was cool to be somewhat mature in any given capacity. Like maturity meant, oh, he's one of the kids who are closer to adulthood. And being closer to adulthood meant like getting your provisional driver's license. That was cool when you were 16 to 17, right? It was like, yeah, I'm like that much closer to adulthood. And being in a romantic relationship, that was another label. That was another milestone. That meant I was that much closer to adulthood compared to my peers who were still single and still quote unquote immature because they couldn't find somebody to date. This is like very immature thinking, but that's what I was thinking about in middle school or early high school, right? And then in high school, I'm thinking, oh snap, I'm about to go to college. I'm about to go and be on this big campus where there's so many people to meet, and maybe instead of being in a relationship, I can do other things where I don't need to be in a relationship to do it. And you get into activities, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna hold you. When you think about the selfish part of that, it just means, I just want to be friends with benefits, where I'm only focusing on the benefits for myself. I'm only focusing on if I'm in the situationship. It ain't no relationship, it's a situationship in which there's mutual gain, ideally, there's mutual and it's consensual, but I'm still really in it just for my own selfish gain. Let's be real honest about that. Let's be honest. Let's be very clear. Now, you go through that high school phase of dating is kind of cool because you're one step closer to adulthood. And then you get into that college age, so traditional college age being 18 to 22. And then you get into that zone of, I don't want to be tied down, because once I get tied down, and that means I'm actually way closer to adulthood, meaning marriage, home, kids, that whole traditional linear mindset of what it means to be an adult, which is a sham. Adulthood is a sham, it's a scam, it's a ploy. I got some other thoughts about that. But regardless, the point of people being too selfish for relationships is because that's how we're bred to think about relationships through TV and movies and through examples set by our peers, our family members, what have you. If you're getting in a relationship, it's all about what you gain from being in that relationship. And that's the problem. I think that is the key problem, where in relationships, the idea of selfish gain is way too propped up. It's on a pedestal. It's whether it's subconscious or conscious. That's at the forefront of too many relationships, and that's why so many relationships fall apart. Romantic relationships specifically, but then that has spillover effects in other relationships, or friendships, familiar relationships, even a little bit in your professional relationships. But when you consider, I'm getting into this partnership, instead of thinking about it from my own selfish perspective, saying I'm in this because of what I can get from it or what I can get from this other individual, I'm now taking the approach, and I've been learning how to take this approach in my current romantic relationship and in my other relationships that aren't romantic. I'm in that servant mode where it's like, all right, how can I make the other person's life easier? Like, how can I serve? How can I be of assistance? How can I make sure that this partnership benefits them? And putting the other party involved, or other parties involved, putting them first, making sure that however I show up in a relationship, it's a way that makes the other person involved, it makes them want to be in a relationship, not because of like a tit for tat, I'm doing this or you do this for me, but rather it's like, oh, they're really going out of their way to help me, and I really appreciate that. So that creates fertile ground for the relationship to grow, where I'm giving to you, I am making sure that I'm assisting you in your growth, and in a fruitful relationship that is reciprocated, but not out of a sense of I have to do this because you did this for me. Rather, because you're doing this for me and I appreciate it and I want to show my appreciation for it, that means I'm going to do the same for you. So then I'm giving to you, then they're also giving to me. Then everybody is covered in the relationship. So when you consider people's just romantic relationships and their marriages, the key is to make the other person's life easier and make their life more enjoyable, to facilitate their growth, facilitate their maturation process, their just to be there for the ups and the downs, to share love and give love even when you don't like the other person particularly. You know, sometimes it's just gonna be a disagreement, it's gonna be an argument. Sometimes I'm not gonna like you today. Sometimes I'm gonna want my own space away from you. But at the foundation there's love. At the foundation there's, I want to still make sure that this relationship is mutually beneficial. And sometimes that means, okay, I'm gonna take some time for myself so that I can recalibrate what's going on over here on my end, so that I can show up and be my best self for you. Because if I stay here and I'm just upset and tired and I got other stuff going on, then that's gonna rub off on you in a negative way, and we don't want that. So to tie all of this together, key point, some of us are too selfish for relationships, and that's okay. Not everybody has to be in a committed romantic relationship for their life to be amazing, for their life to be fantastic, for them to have a flourishing existence. I guess you don't have to be in a committed long-term romantic relationship. No matter what phase of life you're in, that looks different for everybody. It's not just that linear path of by the time you get to high school, you should already be thinking about dating. Or by the time you get to college, you should already be thinking about dating. No, sometimes you just gotta date yourself. Learn about yourself. Understand what it means to be single, what it means to be selfless to others before you get into a committed romantic relationship. You can learn how to be unselfish, how to be selfless outside of any romantic involvements. But learning how to do that on your own, that makes life so much easier once you actually do get into a position to be in a long-term relationship, committed romantic relationship. Key point on being selfless in a relationship. When you're selfless or you're unselfish, that just shows through the way you speak to your partner, the way you act around your partner, the way you talk about your partner with others, the way you show up for your partner when they need you the most, the way you have fun with your partner, the way, all of those things where it's like, I want to make your life enjoyable. I want to add value to your life. I want to be there when you are having the most fun ever, and I also want to be there when times are really rough to be supportive, to be comforting, to be consoling. So I'll leave you with this. Before getting into any romantic long-term relationship or even short-term, consider why. Really consider why. Is it because of peer pressure? Is it because of how it looks on Instagram and social media and TV and movies? And are you just trying to mimic something that you've seen other people do and you just want it just because it looks fun when they do certain things? Or is it because you actually want to help somebody else flourish in life? Because you actually want to add value to somebody else's life. Because you actually value companionship in a way that is not just for your own selfish gain, not for your own egotistical benefit, not just for vanity where someone likes my physical appearance and that means that I'm valuable as a human. Because relationships are not easy. Whatever you see on the gram as relationship goals from celebrities and even your peers, it ain't all sunshine and butterflies, I will tell you that much. But if both people or all parties involved are in it to win it, and they're in it for the other person or the other people versus just being in it for themselves, then it can be worth it.